Max Allotment podcast. Shut the fuck up and drink your beer.
Episode of the Max Allotment podcast, the one-on-one episode. It's a little bit of a 3-on-3. I don't know. There's a little bit of a pause there. This is a special episode where we're interviewing Mike Jones. Yo, how many times have you been introduced as Mike Jones? Come on.
Well, I mean, I could be on the phone with Verizon, and the girl, when I say my name, they sing the song. I mean, it's
no.
Dude has given me more free promo work than you could imagine.
That would be my intro song to every fucking place. My wedding, my baby showers. So, again, we're going off topic already. Mike Jones from Hackensack Brewing. Hector's with me as always, you know what I mean, chilling, hanging out. Mike, why don't you introduce yourself, your title, everything as far as Hackensack. Tell us what's good.
So I founded this company in 2017 with three close friends, my friend Alex, Irfan, and Herb. And I started brewing about 15 years ago, and it was one of those things, man. It was just a dream you always wanted to do, and it just kind of took shape, man. It's no different than anybody else really that opens their own business. You kind of just get tired of working for other people sometimes that don't appreciate you. So that's pretty much the way it went. And then just kind of took a chance, man. We took some loans on our 401ks. We weren't fully funded neither, man. So we kind of went in on a whim, got a location, put down a down payment on half the equipment on a 5-barrel system, and then kind of just prayed for the universe to help us out with the rest of it. And thankfully we were able to with what we had, we were able to get planning board approval. And then from there, we were able to secure an SBA loan, which is not an easy thing to do. I mean, they wanted everything, bro. I had to give up my baby teeth. So, I mean, it was something that, and a lot of times startup breweries don't get that, especially if you didn't work in the industry before, like I was working in healthcare. But we had a lot of skin in the game, we had a location, we had money on equipment, we had planning board approval, we had a good business plan. I got a forensic valuation done of the business before it opened. So it was tough. It took about 5 months of them vetting us, but we were able to get the funding to kind of finish off. And, honestly, bro, we opened in February 2019. So it took us about 1.5 years to 2 years to get open. And if we didn't open on that day, bro, we weren't making rent. Like we're not unique in that neither, bro. I mean, that's the story with a lot of small businesses and a lot of breweries, so. And
we're going to dig deeper into that because I definitely have questions, and I always want to I'm more, and whenever we talk about breweries, beer in general, like, the aspect, I'm more of the business aspect. While Hector and I kind of bounce ideas off each other, he's more of the scientist, always wondering about how the brews and hops and all that stuff.
I see you brewing, man. I see you brewing over there. I'm watching you, man.
But I'm more like, I want to know the business aspect behind it because I was curious because I also am, as a leader of a business, I also have things I got to consider. And whenever I hear a story like yours and other people's story, it's always interesting to hear how they started off. And, and like you said, you all share the same struggle. Nobody started it, and at least that I've interviewed yet, nobody started it with everything being perfect. So before we go any further, what are you drinking, sir, Mr. Jones?
Right now, I'm drinking a tropical sour that we came out with. This is the second time we're dropping in cans. This is a kettle sour called Styles Upon Styles, tribute to Tribe Called Quest and specifically Fife.
Man. Rest in peace.
I think his birthday actually just passed, but rest in peace to him, man. He was a huge, huge influence on me. But yeah, this is a kettle sour conditioned on pineapple and passion fruit.
Nice. Hector, what do you got?
I have Hula Skirt. Hackensack. This, I told you, bro, this is one of my favorite coconut beers all time. Like, everything is so.
Oh, hey, Brewer John, that's baby John. They're drinking Hula Skirt on here,
bro.
Yeah, maybe I should have had the sound effects. I was like, what's funny is that I was like, I'm gonna do no sound effects this episode because I want to keep it professional, keep it legit. I didn't know your energy was like this. I'm like, fuck, now I'm missing the sound effects. I'm air horn the fuck out of it.
You got the wrong guy.
We gotta do a follow-up episode to get all that good shit in. But
say the word.
Yeah, right. But I'm drinking Renhouse's Big Spill Pills. This is their Nelson dry hop Pilsner.
Come on, really?
Yeah. Why, you have one? You have one too?
No, yeah, we have this new dry hop Nelson.
Ooh.
It's also a dry
Ooh.
hop lager.
I gotta get that. I gotta get that so I can do a side by side test.
Yeah, we're actually putting it out today. I didn't even release it yet. I might be taking an Instagram picture for this while we're doing this.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. Put us in the background. Let me know.
You guys got to be in the background, man.
So at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Hector because Hector has a few questions he wants to ask. I don't know if you remember a few months ago, for those watching, Hector just couldn't stop talking about Hackensack this, Hackensack that. He legit went on a rant. Like I had to legitimately remind him that there were other breweries, not only in the world, but within his range and everything else. But
I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I don't know that to be true.
The thing to me is I love the variety. Everything, you have all kinds of styles of beer. The beer tastes awesome. You know, the vibe is great.
Yeah, and you know what? And when you guys did that one thing, I think you guys were drinking Beach Badge, right?
Yeah.
And I really, honestly, bro, like I loved it, and I shared it with the whole staff and everything. And I got to be honest, man, even more than the appreciation for the beer was when you guys were talking about the vibe you felt when you were here, because
yeah, man, so love,
man. I mean, look, the beer is going to reach more places, right? Because you can distribute it, but like, you know, part of this plan from the beginning was making the local people around here proud of it, and making it welcome for everybody. Because you know what, listen, man, I've been a victim of beer snobbery, man. Like listen, I'm a beer nerd like you guys are, but like, you know, it doesn't mean you gotta look down on people for other reasons, and you see that at some places. And
no, for real, I see that. You know, I go like this.
After we talk about all of our shit, we're gonna circle back to that.
Remember, it wasn't that long ago I was drinking 40s of Old English, bro. So, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to look down on anybody because, you know, they like, you know, one hop over another. It's ridiculous, bro. It's people taking it to a new level, you know.
Facts.
Oh, we're gonna circle back to that. So I'm gonna let Hector go back. Start off.
From the beginning, from the first time that I got in there, I was like, wow, you know, I felt the vibe, I felt the love.
Yeah,
that's great.
That meant a lot, you know. And being
Pepper Coast.
Yeah.
Pepper Coast.
Yo, you know what's funny? So, heck, I'm putting my shades on like you, man. So, you know what's funny? we can't. I actually haven't made Pepper Coast because once coronavirus hit, that Uziza pepper is very prominent on the western coast of Africa, and they see that they use it for its healing properties. So we actually experienced a shortage of that.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It was
Pepper Coast. That's like my first beer that I tried from Hackensack, and it blew my mind. Like
that's a doozy, man. Yeah, that's
like if you could pull that off that good, like that well balanced, not overpowering with the spice, it's just like perfect amount. If you could pull that off, like to me, one of my favorite beers, you know, from New York City is the jalapeno rye from Big Alice.
I haven't had that. I've been to Big Alice too, man. They got a nice little spot over there, man. They're doing things on a small system that's really nice, man. Yeah,
so jalapeno rye is like one of my favorite beers, and me like tasting that beer, Pepper Coast, I was like, nah, they have it from right there. From that moment on, I was like, you got it.
You know what? So, we weren't going for a spice beer so much as we were going for. Actually, I made that when I was home brewing. So that was the concept behind that was to have a beer that had a pepper, like a black pepper, but I wanted to play some citrus, lemon forward hops off of it in the same way that lemon and pepper play in cuisine. So, you know, I found that pepper just digging through the spice bin at a local African market down on Anderson Street in Hackensack, KB's Market, and I asked them what they used it for. They said they use it on meat rubs or they use it in stews. Yeah. So I took it home, home brew. I was doing 5 gallons. I put like 3 ounces in at the end of the boil, and I used some lemon drop. I used some Saphir hops, and then we used some Sriracha Ace. And that really that beer is to this day probably the most unique beer I've ever made.
That beer is like, I'm telling you, to me it was they have it. That's it.
Thank you.
I love Hackensack. That's it.
Say it a couple more times.
Oh, we got it on video. Trust me, I know you do.
So, me as a homebrewer, I just wanted to ask you, how did you get into brewing beer? When did you said you started about 15 years ago, 16 years ago. What got you into brewing? Where did you start brewing with? What was your first system? Like, what did you start with?
I mean,
you know.
I started. You know what? I might have I think I got my Bible here, man.
Oh, he's pulling out the books.
So this right here, man, Charlie Papazian.
Charlie Papazian. I have the books.
Yo,
Okay.
I got a chance for Charlie Papazian to drink my beer. It was beautiful, but
that's awesome.
a friend of mine. I was interested in home brewing probably around 2004, and a friend of mine, Patrick, that I work with. I worked at Hackensack Medical Center for 20 years, and he had brewed, and he told me about this book. And honestly, I never bought a kit. I never got a kit. I went out and got a book, and I went to we got a winemaking place kind of close to us, Clifton, New Jersey, right by Patterson, called Corrado's. So they didn't. This was before you weren't getting all these like very beer centric kits that were available. You know, it was kind of like you had to buy a stainless steel pot. You had to you had to figure it out. You got your carboy, which they also use for wine. I started playing around with extract, and to be honest, man, I brewed extract for years, bro. Like I never. It wasn't until probably like the last 6 or 7 years I really started switching up into like all grain and stuff. Like I see a lot of people now jump right into all grain. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, you have so much control over it. But I'm telling you, man, I made some good beers with extract, bro. But
I did my first 2 years. I did extract. Then
yeah. But it was I was brewing in a small apartment. And you know what? I caught the fever, man. I mean, the first beer I made was a porter. I tried to make something easy that hides a lot of flaws. But I brought it actually to a local craft beer bar by us. It's actually the first in the area. It's called Andy's Corner. It's in Pagoda, New Jersey, and they kind of started the North Jersey craft beer movement back in the early '90s, which is a long time ago for craft beer. Yeah. And, I brought it there. He liked the beer, and that kind of put the battery in my back, man. So I just kept brewing from there, man. And once it got to a point, I was working 2 jobs for years. I had a family now, and it was like I was tired of working for other people, man. And I started looking more at the business end of it. And I started like just hanging at breweries and asking a lot of questions, asking if I could volunteer, and a lot of people were really helpful, man, really helpful. So, I mean, I try to play it forward whenever I can as well, whenever I see somebody that wants to get into this business,
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting?
That's what matching the questions, bro.
Yeah, listen, anything you need, I'm telling you, Hector, bro, anything you need. You come by, you can spend days shadowing, whatever you want to do, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it for sure.
One thing that's
I'm just looking to get my feet wet and in the business, because I'm thinking the same way like you. When I get someday open up my brewery, I'm gonna keep brewing consistently, trying to learn the craft a little more, read.
Yep. That I can't recommend that enough, bro. Reading, bro. Read everything you can get your hands on, man, because the beautiful thing about reading like books about beer and stuff is like, a lot of times you can read some esoteric shit that am I allowed to curse on here?
I'll go fuck.
Oh, nice. But a lot of times, you read stuff in life, you read a book about something, you can kind of think about how you want to apply it, but with books about beer, you can apply that shit immediately. So I mean, your next brew. So I mean, a couple books I would recommend if you don't have them already, man. If you do you have the yeast book?
No.
Oh, hold on.
No, we got the Brewers Library over here. I dig it.
Yeah,
see that I need to get, because now my focus is.
I don't want to have any dead air time while I look for books. But
why don't we do this? Why don't we do you can do an Amazon list if you ever want to just make a list of the Amazon books, and you just post it, and I'll put the link on the description.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. Without a doubt. Those are some of the things. I mean, like you're probably already doing temperature control on your fermentation, right? What do you
I have I have a kegerator that I use to ferment temp control.
And what do you use, like a Johnson temp control to override the thermostat? Like you're able to dial in your temps?
Yeah, I have the Inkbird. I have an Inkbird that it shuts down, turns off.
Okay, so and then the other thing is really yeast health, man. And I see already. I watch your videos. You're doing starters. I mean,
you started somewhere back there.
And then are you oxygenating?
No.
Yeah, get yourself a O2 stone, and you can go to Home Depot and they got those little oxygen tanks that welders use. And what you do is you just crank that bitch, leave it in before you pitch your yeast for about a minute. Just let it bubble, and that's gonna get those yeast cells so happy when they get in there, man. Like they get that oxygen, and the cell walls start getting elastic, and they bud quicker and they bud healthy. it's sexy as shit, man.
Nice. Yeah, I love the process, bro.
I am totally lost as to what you guys are talking about right now, but the passion that's coming out of both of you right now, I'm just like, yo, maybe I should brew a fucking beer. I'm about to go downstairs right now with my own pots and shit. Like, yo, do we got any hops? You got any yeast? Where's the shit at? But no, to circle back,
it doesn't take a degree, man. It took me 5 years to get through 3 high schools. So if I could do it, trust me, you can do it.
Dude, and the crazy part is, you mentioned earlier, and I don't mean to jump into Hector's time, but I do want to talk on something that you mentioned, and it's something that's consistent in every interview, every conversation, is somebody helped me, somebody gave me a leg up, somebody worked with me, somebody, you know, you put that battery in your back, you know. I don't want to talk about it right now, but eventually I do want to get into the part where there's that fine line where you know you're a starter, and people eventually, you know, get to the point where I'm still learning, I'm still trying to perfect my craft, and then criticism comes into play. Right?
You mean criticism when you go professional?
In any aspect, because
you mean people trying to tell you can't do it.
We'll get there, but the point is, what I'm trying to say is that the criticism is more of from what I'm thinking right now, is at what point is it constructive? At what point are you taking it as, you know what, that person doesn't know shit? We'll get there.
Yo, I think, listen, man, I think, and again, not to get too into depth, I know you don't want to cut into his time, but I think that criticism that's not constructive can also be constructive, right? It's all about what you do with those words, and you know. Sometimes it's considering the source, and sometimes there's validity to it, you know, and you know, you got to be open to change. I mean, look, I know I started this business, but I know there's a ton of shit I don't know. So, I mean, I had to learn to hire people that can tell me shit that, you know, I didn't know. And I'm still, I mean, we're a year and a half in, and there's so much I don't know, you know, so it's like, you know, you got to listen to everybody, and you know what? You don't always have to use that, but I mean, I think sometimes even in somebody recommending something and you rule it out, there's also value in that, right? So I mean, it's you know, I take everything, man. Throw everything you can at me, and if I could use it, I can use it. If I can't, I could probably still use it.
I got you. We'll circle back to that. We got there's more to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Go ahead, Hector. Go ahead. Sorry,
Mike. To know, I just have one last. What made you take that leap when you said, you know what, it's time for me to get my business up and running? What was it that they just be like, it's that time? I'm gonna open up, and I'm gonna risk it all, because everything's a risk, you know, in life. Like you said, you know, you borrow for your 401k, and you know, you're like, I have to make this happen.
So a couple things, I guess. Number one, sometimes feeling like you care about the job that you're doing a hell of a lot more than your superiors do, and you're doing it for them. And that's like a deflating feeling, right? I mean, like, you know, if you look at all the research, man, the number one reason people that leave jobs is not money, it's lack of appreciation. And you know what, like when you're going above and beyond all the time, and look, man, you don't do things necessarily for a pat on the back, but the pat on the back don't hurt at the right time. And, you know, I mean, you couple that with, you know, I was in a situation where I had just had a son, my first kid, and you know, I was working 13 hours a day, you know, and this went on for like 5 years. You know, it was, you know, I was leaving at 6:30 in the morning. I was getting home at 8:30 at night. There was days I didn't see my kid awake, you know, and it was like, you know what, like, what am I doing? Like, and I'm doing this just to get by, you know, I'm doing this just to pay mortgage. I mean, you know, so if I'm going to put in those hours, it might as well be for me and our family, you know, like, so, I mean, and you know, you couple those two things with the old saying, look, you're never going to get a hit unless you take a swing. Look, this thing could crash and burn tomorrow. I will die knowing I took a swing, you know? So, I mean, you know, it's again, you don't want to just, you know, you don't want to swing if it's super far out of the strike. I mean, you know, not everybody's Vlad Guerrero, you know, but you, you know, you do it calculated, do your research, and listen, man, you got passion. I think it's hard to fail, because if you couple passion with hard work, you know, and you're paying attention to stuff. I mean, look, beer is not rocket science, right? But you got to keep it clean. You know, you got to keep it clean. You got to oxygenate, good temperature control, man. Take care of it, carb it right. And listen, man, once you start those things are easy to learn. Then you learn to play with flavors, and that's where it starts getting really fun. Once it's like, you know that what you brew is going to be good, you might as well now start playing with a bunch of things, and that's when it gets fun. So like, I sit here with our head brewer John, and like that's fun time to sit and just bring up, right now, the other day, we want to do like a Belgian quad with cherries for the holiday, like, but it's like, and then it's like, yeah, but what if we barrel age it? What if we do it? And then it's like, you know what, like I'm only as good as what's in my head. When he's telling me something, now we're going back and forth. So it's like, it's always a collaboration too, and that's important, man. Like you gotta learn sometimes to put your own ego down. You know what I mean? And be to everything. And look at the stuff too, man. Like I'm not trying to like eat the beer that the guy next door does. I mean, no idea is original, man. I mean, there's only certain hop combinations. Like, you have a beer that tastes great and it's got X hop and X hop. Brew it yourself. You're not stealing that recipe.
Yeah.
But there's you know what? I'll give somebody my recipes. If you can make it the same way I do, then God bless you.
Yeah. So when you first opened, were you brewing your beers? Were you the first, first you were brewing your beers, then you got a head brewer?
Yeah, it was crazy. So we opened hold on, I got somebody here for pickup. It's 2017. I mean, me and my partners were doing the build out. But again, that was, a lot of that fell on me because they're not really beer guys. They're passionate, but they don't know the business. So it's, I had to learn stuff that I never knew, bro. Like I didn't understand how to make invoices. I didn't understand. I had to figure out cold box dimensions. Now you're measuring kegs, you're measuring pallets, you're seeing how they stack up. Now you're measuring your cold box. How big is the door going to be? How many phases of electricity do you need? Do you need to bring new power off of the line from PSC and G? What kind of chiller do you need? Like bro, I'm telling you right now, it's the most challenging thing of my entire life. But knowing that other people did it, let me know that I could do it.
Yeah,
so
of course.
But so we opened. So I started brewing probably brewed my first batch of beer, which was actually, this is a funny story, bro, but it was Pepper Coast, and I saw it all the way through. My first ever commercial batch of beer. I saw it all the way through to the bright tank. And I went to take a hose off, and I undid the clamp at the port, and I lost the whole batch. I got video somewhere. It's one of those videos that gets like 10 million hits on YouTube. I can't find it though. And the worst thing is, bro, it's dumping out all over the floor. My first professional batch of beer, it's dumping out all over the floor, and you can't even just cry and vomit. You have to fucking squeegee it while you're crying and vomiting, bro.
Yeah, pick up the pieces, bro, right there, like.
Yo, you should see the video. The video, bro, I'm like this half the time. I'm squeegeeing on one hand. At one point, I lay on the ground. I'm physically ill, bro.
My heart hurts right now.
Listen,
but basically, long story short, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't know much about brewing beer, but when you said you took the clamp off, and for some reason, I knew exactly where you're going with that.
Oh my God, bro.
Thank you for dropping your guard, so to speak, and sharing that story. That's fucking awesome. I love it when businesses and business owners can do that. That's just fucking phenomenal because there needs to be a level of like, oof.
Yo, you gotta listen. You gotta know how to fail, right?
Yes.
Knowing how to win is fucking easy, man. I mean, everybody knows how to win. Once you win, it's a good feeling, of course. But like losing, bro, that's rough, man. Especially beer, which is a labor of love, right? I mean, you're spending weeks. If that's a lager, you're spending months. If you're barrel aging and you're spending years. Like so you got to be prepared to fail if you want to win, man. But basically, to circle back, so I started brewing here in I think October of 2018. I finally had the system in. We weren't approved yet to open our tap room, but I started brewing, and I had a local bar by me. Shout out to the Strap Hanger, New Jersey's #1 dive bar. There's a bar down the block, and I planned out a lot of this brewery in that bar. I mean, I'm no joke, bro. I was thinking about hanging them up in the tap room because I got like whiskey stained napkins that I was writing out measurements, recipes. But so they took our beer from the beginning and before we were open. So I was brewing October, November, December, January, February. And then I think in March, I hired a good friend of mine, John Henry, who was brewing at another location. And, he had expressed interest in coming here for a while, but, I wasn't ready to let go. And I actually was, I was down in Cape May on vacation. And I met this guy, Andrew, a really talented brewer. He was the head brewer at Cape May at the time. And he invited me to spend a brew day there. And the owner of Cape May Brewing, Ryan Krill, actually, when I was telling him what I was doing, he said something to me that stuck with me. He said, look, do you want to work at your business or do you want to work on your business? And it kind of stuck in the back of my head. And I realized I was at an impasse, too, because you got to remember the whole time that I was brewing, kegging, delivering, doing sales, I was also a radiation therapist at Memorial Sloan Kettering in Manhattan. So, I mean, it was like I would dry hop at 4 a.m, go into work all day, work a 12-hour shift, come home. I would harvest yeast off another batch. So, I was approaching a nervous breakdown, bro. I'm not gonna lie, man. And it was, it was tough, man. But letting go of that and understanding that didn't mean that it still wasn't, I had to realize that, look, this thing is no longer mine, right? Like, and that's the most disarming thing about the whole process, bro. It's like you have this idea, right? And it's in your head and it can go away. Like, but now when it's not in your head anymore, like you can't make it. And that's I think I started having panic attacks. I don't know. I never had a panic attack, but I was getting chest pains. I was getting chest pains at random times, bro. And let me tell you, man, letting go, and especially, with John Henry, I trust him so much. So it's like it helps so much, to have somebody that it's like, you know what? I never thought I wouldn't be on a brew deck, but now that I look back at it, I'm like, yo, me spending 8 hours on that brew deck is for our business because I'm guiding the business.
You have so much other things that you have to do, to maintain, Hackensack, running properly.
So it's probably 6 months in, 6 months, and then I had that.
That goes into my next question.
Bring it. What do you got?
What made you, what made you choose Henry? Jonathan, what made you say this is the guy? Because you as a the brewmaster, the head brewer, you have to know that you hand that torch to somebody that that's gonna make your business grow and also keep making beer at the quality that you can make.
I would say 3 main things. Number one is trust, right? Like I knew him, so he was brewing at another brewery locally. But he would often come by too when I was home brewing. He loved brewing, so he wanted to come hang out. He was very smart with John was always very good with water. He understood water, which is something I don't know how far you're into that though.
Water treatment. I'm learning.
Are you using brewing water?
I'm using tap water. Then I'm using some calcium chloride.
There's a software that you can download called Brewing Water, BRU''N. I think his name was Martin Bruin or something, but he put together this algorithm on an Excel spreadsheet. So what you do is you get your water tested at home. Where are you? You're in the Heights?
I'm in the Bronx.
Oh, you're in the Bronx. Okay. So whatever, get your water tested and then you enter it into this software. And then basically every style that you're going to you'll put your recipe in. And then it'll tell you what salts you need, how much calcium chloride, how much gypsum. You need lactic acid, right? Because your darker malts are going to be pushing that pH down, right? So, like, you're going to need to add things back in, and that's super helpful. But that was the thing. I'm telling you, bro. And we'll talk more offline if you want. But John was really good with that. So, like, I would constantly hit him up and be like, yo, here's my water profile for this pale ale I'm working on. What do you think about it? Like Sunday mornings, bro. And he was always he loved to help, and he's a friend too. So it's beyond that. But so I mean, there's the trust factor. There's also just work ethic, man. I mean, there's I always saw what an attention to detail. I'm trying to talk low because I think he might be able to hear me down there. So there's always like an attention to detail, man. And you know what, bro? Like a passion, man. And you things and. It was just a really good fit. He took a chance coming here, man, to a startup. We were 6 months old, but the fact that we can also work together on all these recipes too. I mean, that's another mind working on it. A very talented mind, So like, you know what, like hula skirts, his baby, you know, like that's one of the things he came. I'm like, yo, roll with it, you know. But
amazing beer.
yeah.
Awesome.
But you know, a lot of it, you know, pretty much everything that comes out of here is a conversation, a collaboration, and it's a lot of back and forth. And sometimes it's like, you know what, man, maybe we'll lose the chocolate malt on that. We'll just try to get the color with some midnight wheat, or we'll try. You know, there's a lot of you know, what do you think about switching up the base malt on this? You know, maybe we're looking for a breadiness, or maybe, you know, maybe we add some more Munich malt. Maybe, you know, but what's that going to do to the color? And what do we want it to look like? And let's look at some commercial beers. You know, we sit down a lot, and we drink beers and see what we like about certain things. And you know, it's like you know, looking at a Mad Elf, right, and seeing that red, like then when a light hits behind it, bro, and it's like, yo, I want to do that. I want that, you know. And it's like, you know, it's just it's fun, man. So I mean, it was a very deeply personal thing for me to make that call. And you know, again, I mean, my hat's off to him, because I couldn't have built the business beyond that if I was just standing up there. You know what I mean? And I'm not downplaying that role. I mean, it's the beer, it's the brewer, it's the most, you know, weird thing. But I mean, it's there's what people don't realize is there's so much more to this business than brewing it. So it's you know, I mean, and I'm telling you, when I say I'm still learning, I mean, you're dealing with state laws, you're dealing with federal laws, you're dealing with copyrights, you're dealing with everything, bro. You know, logistics, bro. You're dealing with now you're developing a distribution network. You know, you're learning sales, you're learning accounting, bro. I had to take QuickBooks classes at a local college. You know, I didn't know what the hell I'm doing. So it's like, you know, a lot of this stuff is I'll tell you right now, like my last 3 years, I mean, I feel like I got like a fucking PhD and shit, bro. Like, yeah, I'm not even saying that like I'm talking shit. Like,
no. You talking shit, bro. It's what it is. Like when you put that work in, like, you expect to get it back, and that's something that, you know. So my background is more of leading a business, right? So you spoke a lot about working for somebody else, you know, putting in hours for somebody else. That's my background, right? I'm a leader. I'm a, you know, senior leader of a business. You know, I've learned a lot. I've picked up a lot, and learning from small business owners that they go through the same struggles, you know. But the thing is, the inspiring part of that is that they're able to say, this is mine. This is mine. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what's so awesome about that. Like, I can't do that. I cannot do that. I can say this podcast is mine. I can say that this, you know, IG page is mine. But when we talk about something that's profitable, something that's a business, something that's a landmark, you know, in any community, you know, say that's yours. That's huge. That's a big fucking deal.
And you know what it is too, like there is the dual nature of that as well, right? So like, as much as it is mine, it's also, in a crazy way, it stopped belonging to me the day that there were other people working here, and the day that we opened our doors. Like, this place very much belongs to the customers that come here. Like, you know, I mean, we got like such a loyal crew that comes here, and the staff, and it's like, this thing may have been mine at one point, but it's not anymore. So while there is that nice possessive feeling as well, there is also the, okay, cat's out of the bag. Like, now it becomes yours in an even more important way, because people are depending on you. Yeah. So it went from you depending on yourself to do for self, to everybody kind of depending on you. Yo, man, we're going through a global pandemic right now, bro. Yeah. Like, we opened a year and change ago. This shit is a nightmare, bro. But it's like, you know what? It's also, to me, a huge opportunity to show that what you can do when you're hit with an adverse situation. And you know what, man? That's what you're defined by, as far as I'm concerned. What did you do when the chips were down? Yeah. And you know what? This has provided us. And when I say good opportunity, I don't mean, you know, hooray for coronavirus. I mean, like, this shit is horrible. I know people that have died from it. I had it in April, you know, but it is an opportunity to kind of show, like, yo, how are you going to pivot? How are you going to change your business? You know, we ripped all our beer out of kegs and put it in cans. We had 2 labels. All of a sudden, we had 14 labels that we had to make really fast. You guys
definitely stepped it up during that pandemic. It was crazy. It was just...
yo, my boy TJ, who was a customer here, And he would always talk about, yo, you should do this, you should do this. And I listened, but I mean, I was kind of going my own way with the labels. And when that shit hit, I said, yo, we got to get all this beer in cans. And me and him sat down and I'm like, all right, we got Moment's Notice. We got Fairmount Pale Ale. We got this beer. We got this beer. And like, yo, we clicked like this. So like, I would tell him something and like within 1 or 2 hits, he got it. And the label he would hit me with was like, yo, like, yes, that's exactly it.
I think what you're saying, the transition for you guys was like, I feel like it was like so smooth. Like it would like everybody just shattered and you guys just like, all right, okay, today we here, we serving and tapping. Tomorrow we shut down. We already smoothly out into the cans because all of a sudden, I was going to you guys. I was like 12 different cans. I was like,
I'm glad it looks smooth.
Well, no, that's part of what I was saying.
Wow, a whole earthquake and volcanoes and oh shit! Everybody throwing cakes at each other, But to the people outside, everything was like, wow. Everything just switched so smoothly, and you guys, kept it up, throughout these rough times, slinging out awesome beer, hitting us with awesome flavors. So,
it's funny because, and I appreciate those words, but it's funny because, once we put out all those beers, all of a sudden people started tagging me on stuff and sending me Reddit posts and shit. And like, I don't really look at reviews and stuff. So, but people like, yo, Hackensack dropped 12 new beers today. I'm like, yo, these people don't even know that this is the beers we had on tap.
Yeah, we had on.
Never been here.
Yeah, we just. So that's the thing. That mentality of fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that comes with, and for lack of a better term, a hustler mentality, a pusher mentality. You're like, fuck it.
You're hitting the nail on the head right now, just so you know. I'm not
we did a sound,
but that's what it is. That you got to say, yo, you know what? Nobody's going home. We're figuring this shit out.
Yeah.
This is what's going on, and sometimes that's what it comes down to, and being in my position for as long as I have, and then hearing you have to be able to trust the team that you're around, and you have to be able to build that team. You have to be able to say, hey guys, when shit's great, but you have to have the same energy when shit's fucked up.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? And that's the part that a lot of people, when shit's great, they're all around. Yeah, we're cool, we're here.
Oh, yeah.
But when shit is rough and shit is difficult, how many of those people still around?
They love you when you're up, bro. Everybody loves you.
And it was an age-old story, right? But the point, but the thing is, being in the position that you're in and that I've been as well, you have to be able to say, you know what, I got to cut you off because you're not here for the real shit. You're not here for the grind. You're here for the celebration, and that's not what we're about. And
I think I learned that early. Like, I mean, listen, man. I mean, not maybe cutting people off in a cold way, but I mean, look, man. When you're younger and you run with a certain crew, or and then things start changing. You get a family, and it's like, man, there's people I don't talk to anymore. It's not because I don't like them, but we were living a certain lifestyle, and I'm not doing that anymore. And it's not like I'm trying to leave somebody behind, but I mean, like,
it's a different mentality right now.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can't want them in and out of jail all the time, or you can't, I mean, it's decisions that you make, and I think having a kid definitely grew me up. I mean,
bro, I think all three of us and in this whole conversation are on the same page. Because once I got you put me in a position where you're taking food out of my kid's mouth.
Yeah.
Now it's a whole problem. You know what I mean? Problem. Now it's not. Now I don't give a fuck how you feel.
Yep.
Fuck you and 100%. Your feelings. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
I think having a kid made me realize that I was responsible for something else. I wasn't living for me anymore. Like when it was just me, man, bro, I didn't care, bro. I mean, I lived reckless, bro. Like,
I throwing was, money at you. Don't give a fuck. It's gone. Whatever. Man, I get it back later.
I was in and out of a lot of trouble as a kid and as a young adult, and like I lost my best friend to cancer when I was 18, and like I didn't give a fuck about anything, man. And like, and I wasn't doing anything that was hurting other people, but I had a lot of self-destructive behaviors, and having my son and now my daughter, like it's game changing, man. Like you're not you're not living for you anymore. You're living for somebody else, and there's something so fulfilling about that, and fucking horrifying.
Yeah,
you know, like,
no, it's true. It's true. It's facts.
You worry about so much, you know.
I can't tell you how many times I've looked back and said, "Yo, if this would have went this way in that situation, I would have been screwed for life. If this would have went this way, for life." Like, it's one of those things where, you know, maybe every person watching this episode and this part can't relate, but there are some people that it will click. Some people that it will hit. Like, you know, there's those situations that you like, yo, what I did in this specific situation, that would have killed, that would have ruined me forever.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Bro,
so
100%.
Let's change gears a little bit. I want to be a little, not, I want to say positive, a little fun.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah.
So music is a big part of what you do. Today we're recording on Wednesday. For those who was watching this, Woo Wednesday. Shout out to the Woo. So how do you incorporate a lot of the music, hip hop music specifically, into what you do?
You know, other than just having it playing all the time, but
hey, I love that.
You know,
I'm not gonna.
You know what it is, man.
I love that shit.
I'm in this weird position in life where I get to name beers and like the public has to read them, you know, and it's like I had all this dumb shit in my head for so long, and it's like. You know, I mean, for example, you know, this beer, right? We didn't do any sour beers prior to this. And it was like, all right, let's do a kettle sour.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, I'm just thinking about, all right, what do I name it, right? You start going through your head for everything. And then it's like, you know, I'm like, damn, man. Well, you know what? I'm like, we're putting out a lot of different styles. And then it's just like, you know, I'm thinking of styles. And my first thing is like, you know, styles upon styles upon styles is what I have. So, like, you know, because and if you look on the bottom of the can, it says, you know, never half step because I'm not a half stepper. And we start out the 5 foot assassin, man.
Nice.
I mean, look, if I was a classical head, I might be doing the same thing. If I was a rock and roll head, and again, I listen to everything, so I don't want to make it sound like we're just like a hip hop brewery. Like it's not. I mean, I think people that come here, and I make sure, you know, I'm not like. I ain't bumping Woo every day, bro. Like, you know, I mean, you come in here, I'm usually playing something that's like kind of got a hip hop tone to it, but like, you know, I'm not about, you know, look, we got a wide range of people that come here, man.
The playlist is always on point over there.
Yeah.
What's the name of the DJ?
It's like older couples sitting there and shit, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know.
What's the name of the DJ you guys have going on Fridays?
That's my boy Lingo. So,
DJ Lingo.
Yeah, that's my boy. So he actually he was originally a customer here, and then when COVID hit, he volunteered to deliver because now everything shifted to delivery. So him and his cousin Franny, who's now our taproom manager, actually just basically working here. So he still delivers, he still DJs here. Great people, man. Great people.
Yeah, DJ Lingo got the hot players on deck all the time.
Yeah, he's going to be getting more burn too coming soon because what we're doing right now is because of the restrictions on indoor dining.
Yeah,
trying to turn that parking lot into a freaking winter wonderland, man. Sorry, my phone's blowing up. And so we're gonna have comedy shows. We're gonna have more DJs out there. So we you know. Look, at this point, man, I mean, look, people like the beer and that's great, but you know what? To get people to come out, you kind of got to sell the experience too, right? So,
100%.
I mean, right now we got a bunch of open fires out there, so people sit around the fires. You know, I was going to get a tent. You know, we had a tent up there, but now the tent has to come down November 30th because it's not snow rated. We looked at getting a snow rated tent, but the city wants it to come with full architectural plans. You know, you run an electricity. Next thing you know, you're looking at $12,000 on a tent. And you know what? I just decided. You know what, man? Like I started really. You know, it took me about 3 or 4 weeks of just sitting. When I tell you, I was having nightmares, bro, about like tents flapping in the wind. I mean, I'm not even joking. No. Like, I don't sleep a lot, and like that shit was fucking with me. So I decided.
Just imagine, man.
But you know what it is? Listen, man. I think about all right. So. What will get me to drink outside, right? And then I started thinking, and it's like, yo, not much. Like, bro, we grew up in the Northeast. I mean, you grow up with heavy windstorms, man. I mean, blizzard of '96. I was probably drunk outside more than I was inside. You know,
so we was out there playing football in '96.
Yo,
the block. Like,
let me tell you.
It was crazy, bro.
Almost cracked my spinal cord.
So for those,
I hit a car
real quick, real quick for those who don't know the Blizzard of '96, the Blizzard of '96 hit like the majority of the East Coast, the Northeast, because I was in Pennsylvania at the time, and I remember getting a heavy snowstorm then.
You got hit with it.
And so like it would hit us all. So when you posted, whoever's running your social media team posted the Lager Fest, and you guys posted all the lagers. I was like, yo, that's a fucking fun night. I don't give a shit. That's a fun weekend, fun Monday, whatever you want to call it.
Weekend, bro. Like, you get to drink all these good beers, and I get super hammered, bro.
So we talk about it like almost every episode, right? Hector and I, we go back and forth about how like in 2020, lagers just fucking blew up. Don't know, and we talked to other brewers, and other brewers were like, yo, that was planned. Other brewers were like, yeah, I agree. You know, and the fact that, you know, whenever I see a lager now, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I was a haze boy. I'm still a haze boy, but I love it when I, you know, get a hazy, you know, get excited. But now when I get a lager, when I get, you know, and you know, to shout out a brewery out here, Tombstone Brewery, they have an imperial lager that they're like 8%. I'm like, dude, I need more of that shit. Like, I need more shit that.
We got one right now. We got Dad Strength is an imperial pilsner. I think we're sitting at like.
I need my sound effects.
But
I'm like,
you know what, Max? I mean, I think the funny thing is when you think about it, lagers never went anywhere, right? Because your Budweiser and your Coronas and your Presidentes and you know, these are your beers that have been mass consumed for so long. So it's almost funny how this craft brew culture came around on a style that's been mass produced for so long, you know?
Yeah. I think it's more of the it's getting now to the point where it's the taste of the lager is so much different than what we grew up on.
Yeah. It's not water.
Even
it's not water. It's crisp. You still get the crispness. But you get flavor. You get substance.
You get so much. And that's not to shit on Yingling, but even the Yinglings, like Yingling is probably, you know, the oldest. It is oldest brewery in the United States. Yeah. But, you know, when you taste a Yingling, you taste a different beer. You taste, you know, a Big Spill Pils, or you taste the Nelson that you made. You know, all the lagers you've done. You taste the difference. Like, yes, it's the same style, but it's such a huge, what's that word? Range. Like, you know, there's like a huge margin. Margin?
You know what it is?
You know what it is? Margarine. Beer.
It's like
butter.
It's like butter, baby.
It's like margarine butter. It's just awesome.
Parquet. We're about to put that in the Max one.
Yo, that Max beer is parquet all day. That Max collab is all parquet.
I first noticed it. I went to Germany for Oktoberfest, I think in 2005 or 2006.
Bucket list.
And bro, I was blown away by how many different types of lagers there were, you know. You know, and especially dark lagers are what caught me off guard, man. Like, I was so used to seeing your Pilsners and your like you said, your Budweiser and your Yingling. And I think sometimes also the reason these beers are tasting so much better than a Budweiser or a Yingling also is, especially you guys, you're drinking fresh local beer, right? I mean, that shit hasn't been in a can more than a couple weeks by the time you're getting it.
It's fresh.
That's what I'm saying. So there's also the freshness, right, which you're not going to get on a super mass-produced beer. But there's also a wide range of lager styles, man. I mean, you know, your Czech Pilsner accentuates the malt flavor, while your German Pilsner accentuates the bitterness. And you know, that's the difference between your Pilsner Urquell and your Becks. You know, then you really start jumping around and getting into your box. Your Helles box, your Weizen box. You know, now you got your stronger lager.
I was telling Hector earlier about Dortmunders. Was it Dortmunder? How you pronounce
that? Right. Yeah, whatever. Dortmunders.
That dark ass caramel.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, dude, that shit's. But it, like you said, it gives you there's such a range within one particular style as it is.
Yeah.
And you know what? Experiment so much.
That lager yeast, you know, allows for a kind of a softer beer, but when you go on the whole range, what you got, kid? Hold on 1 second, fellas.
There you go.
I'll be later, bro.
All right, Kenny, thank you, bro. All right, bro. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. But you know, I think the interesting thing with that is that's where, and again, hops also play a role, but lagers you can really start having fun with how they're going to be expressed, how the malt is going to be expressed, right? And like, you notice the difference. Like in our parking lot Pilsner, which actually the name of that beer is actually a shout out to like the tailgating culture we grew up with here. So we got the old Giant Stadium on the label.
Oh,
but going to those games and stuff.
Yeah.
But like anyway, we grew up with a tailgating culture. But I don't want to digress. But that we noticed. I mean, the base malt that you're using on that beer is so important because the beer is like 85-90% Pilsner malt. So you have to have good Pilsner malt because that malt is talking, right? So like, and then when you start getting into dark lagers, and also actually Hector, you know what? This is a good one too, right here, bro.
Oh, here we go with the books. Oh, he's hitting you with the books, bro. That Amazon list is getting longer and longer.
Ooh,
dark lagers.
Ooh.
Dark lagers.
So this is
put that on the list.
Yeah, and then when I was home brewing, I started getting into lagers as a home brewer years ago, and I started researching the German styles. When I came back from Germany, I was blown away by how many dark lagers I had. So like malty, like I was exploring malt in a whole new way, and really I think it's because of that lager yeast. But I came back and I started studying styles, and then I realized that the Germans used to use what's called the Decoction Method. I don't know if you've ever done this in your brewing, but basically what they did was, this is back in the days. So what they would do is you would start the boil, right, and then you would pull off a portion. Actually, it was during the mash, I think. Yeah, you would pull off a portion, and then you would pull off a portion of the mash, and then you would bring that to a boil while the mash was still going on, and then once it gets to a boil, you pour that back into the mash, and then you pull off another portion. And so what you're able to do by doing that, you're creating these melanoidins, right? And you're creating these very intense flavor.
Wow.
In the same
so
way
it's like you're mashing out in between.
Yeah, and then you bring it. Yeah, exactly. It's basically it's kind of like a step mash, but
it's like.
But it's also by bringing part of that mash to a boil, you're releasing it. You're causing what's called a Maillard reaction, which is the same reason that toast tastes better than bread, and the same reason that like the end of that piece of roast has the most flavor in it. It's that same reaction, and it's releasing melanoidins. And so when you get that back in, so I brewed a Munich Dunkel. This was probably 2016. And I double decocted it, bro. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I did it on my stovetop. I mean, I didn't even have like anything and I said, and bro, it came out beautiful. I let it lager, and that's the other thing, man. And we're coming out with these t-shirts. Don't steal this, but lager is gonna lager, bro. That's important.
I have a Pilsner there for like 2 months. I have a ginger lemongrass Pilsner.
Beautiful.
In the kegerator at 40.
Let it sit. Beautiful.
40 degrees for 2 months. 2 months. 103.
I love to hear that. Because you know what? I mean, the word lager means to store in German. So you let it store, let it lager. And you know what? I think the problem with a lot of craft breweries is they from a financial standpoint, it's hard, man, because a beer taking up tank space means money.
Yep.
And that lager sitting there, you might have been able to turn over 3 IPAs in that tank.
Yep.
And so I mean, there's a lot of pressure to not do lagers almost. So, but yeah, that beer, that Munich Dunkel, I never submitted any beer to a competition in my life. I put it into the New Jersey State Fair. It won gold medal and went to best of show. It finished 4th in the state, and that's the largest. Wow. That's the first beer I ever even submitted. Like, I didn't even know about that whole beer circuit. Like, it was new to me.
Yeah.
Yo.
Wow.
Listen, I love this conversation. I love how we're talking. I personally do not brew any beer. I've told Hector 1,000 times I'm too lazy to brew beer, but I enjoy the fuck out of it. Like,
you drink it.
And you know what? I get it. I get why people are so passionate. When I talk to more people like yourself and people who have that passion behind it, it just comes out naturally. Like, it's not something that's faked. It's something that's 100%. And just to wrap this up, speaking as a home brewer to now a business owner, what's the one piece of advice you would give to somebody who's following in the similar footsteps that you followed?
I'm gonna take that advice for me, man.
Listen, everybody's gonna doubt you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if this shit was easy, everybody would do it. And the reason everybody doesn't do it, and I'm not saying that makes me better or worse than anybody. That's not what I mean. But like, if you have the passion for it, you are already more than halfway there. So like, passion can't be taught, but the rest of that shit can be learned. You can learn fermentation temperature, and you can learn counting cells of yeast if you get down to that level. Those things are all quantifiable, right? And they're tangible, but passion is not. So if you have passion, and if you think that I think opening a brewery is a good idea to make some money, first of all, you're an idiot. But like, if you think that like, this is easy, or this is like a get rich quick thing, it's not going to stop requiring hard work. I mean, it's not. And listen, man, don't get me wrong, bro. I'm trying to make this business to the point where it runs without me. That's the point, right? Like, you get to a point where like, I want to step back and just, and it's been happening. More and more of my focus is big picture, big picture, big picture. You know what I mean? Where in the beginning it was like, learn how to use this new system. Well, first of all, build a brewery, right? Learn the laws, learn all this stuff, brew on this new equipment, and do this and do that. And then it's like, get it into kegs. I never kegged anything. I never, I kegged at home with a little racking on, like, But the thing I would say is, if you homebrew, that's a start, because that's going to teach you everything you need to know. Like, people who have never brewed and opened up a brewery, and that's not a shot at anybody's business model. I don't mean it like that. Like, you know what? If you got a brewer you trust, and you got a model where you're confident in that, that's great. But you know what? My thing is, I don't want there to be any part of this job that I can't do on my own. Right? So I've done everything. Now that's starting to change, because I can't do labels and stuff like that. Like, I mean, I had somebody sign it, but I mean, master everything. Learn everything in your business. Like, that's my thing. Like, and by learning everything in your business, you're not going to give up on it, because you've now invested so much time in it. So I mean, look, I guess I'm taking a really long way of saying, you got the passion, and you're ready to put in the work. It just starts with brewing, and then just remember, there's a lot of shit outside of that. So you gotta kind of be able to bundle all this stuff together, man. And it's it's not easy, man. It's not easy. It's an everyday struggle, but it's you know what, like you said, Max, at the end of the day, like, yeah, it does belong to everybody and everything, but I also know, like, if I fail, it's on me. But if we win, a lot of that's on me too. So
you gotta own the entire process from start to finish.
Huh?
You own the entire process, start to finish, regardless of what the outcome is.
And that does feel good, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, I spent so much time on somebody else's clock that, like, I like walking around with my Hackensack Brewing t-shirt, bro. You seeing Hector rocking my Hackensack Brewing t-shirt, bro. Yo, listen, man. Let me know. You need an updated shirt, man. You need an updated shirt.
Oh.
Hold on.
Here we go. Yo, I see the hoodie in the background too. The hoodie's looking pretty too.
Ooh. Got the fresh hat.
Okay.
Listen, if you ain't scared to rock your jersey out in the Bronx, bro.
Oh.
Nah, not at all, bro. Not at all.
A lot going on. Today's Woo Wednesday. You got people coming through.
On deck today.
They're gonna be outside chilling, drinking. But I thank you for your time. I know you got a lot going on. Shout out to Woo Wednesday. So yeah, man. Next time we'll connect, and let us know, man. Let us know how the outdoor setup looks like. You know what I mean? Send us the pictures.
I'm motivated right now. I'm going to that bridge.
Yo, listen, man. Let me know.